Happy Sunday. I hope you had a good week. I hope you had a relaxing weekend. Today I wanted to do a different kind of video. I just wanted to talk from my heart and how I'm feeling and not really have a script or anything. The topic I wanted to talk about today is accepting yourself as an introvert. I just really started thinking about it a few weeks ago when something happened to me at work, and then I felt like it was so formative for me, and I've really been working over like the past few years to accept myself more as an introverted person. But I don't know, after that moment it just really solidified it for me. So I wanted to share the story and I wanted to give some advice. I'm not coming off trying to say that I fully accept myself as an introverted person and that I've healed all my judgments towards myself, because I definitely haven't. I definitely still feel awkward and weird and bad in conversations with people sometimes, and I have a hard time making friends and connecting with people. But I'm working on accepting this part of myself more, and as I work to accept it, it makes it a lot easier to connect with people and to feel comfortable in myself and my environment. So, my story at work. I feel like this is the fun part of the video because it's a little bit of drama. But basically I work with a bunch of people. There's people my age, there's older people, and there was this one woman, and we work together kind of infrequently. And because she has a different job than me, but sometimes we need to collaborate. So she came in and we did what we needed to do, and it was all good. I felt like it was good. I mean, I didn't talk very much because I never really do, and she talked a lot because she's very talkative and that's her personality, and I actually kind of like that about her. But anyways, when we were leaving, she turns to me and she was like, "Oh, so how are you settling into your job?" And in my head I was like, well, I've been at my job for 9 months, and so it was kind of a weird question because I was like, well, I feel settled in, but I was like, oh, good. And then she imitated me, the way that I talked, and she made her face look worried, her eyes were big, and she was like, oh, good, and imitated the way that I said it. And then she turned to her friend and they laughed and mentioned something about me being shy and quiet. And I just stood there and watched it happen, and I had all these feelings come in. I felt like I regressed back to my child self, having people my age make fun of me for being shy and awkward, or thinking about older people commenting on it and being like, oh, why don't you talk more, why are you so quiet, oh, Mary's so quiet, always saying those things about me. And I really felt so small in that moment. And then I stood there and I really finally didn't have anything to say, because as I've gotten older, I felt I'm constantly defending it and trying to when someone notices that I'm shy and awkward, I try and fix it and talk more and make them feel more comfortable. But then I really thought about it and I was like, you're making fun of me as an adult for being shy and awkward, but I think the reason you're making fun of me is because you feel uncomfortable with my personality. And I don't know, it was just so shocking to me. I was a 50-year-old person is making fun of me for being quiet, and I feel my small younger self again. And so then I just walked away and sat down in my office, and I was really happy that I didn't try and fix it and say anything else and cover up the way that I acted, because there was actually nothing wrong with how I acted. And that's the point that I'm kind of trying to bring to the video that I'm making right now, is that there's actually nothing wrong with you for not having anything to say. If you don't have something to say, you don't have to. And conversations with people are not a time for you to figure out what to say to make them like you. They're a time to actually connect with people and get curious about them and find out what they have to say and respond in a natural way. And so in that moment, when I actually didn't say anything else, and I just said, oh, I'm doing good, and didn't elaborate on it and didn't force myself to try and be extroverted and make a conversation with her, I was really honoring myself as an introverted person. And when she made fun of me, it was a moment where I could see, oh, actually, it's good that I didn't share anything else with her because she's really not a person who I want to connect with or someone who I would really get along with well. And so there's really no reason for me to talk more to her or try and make her feel comfortable in the conversation because, you know, she's just gonna make fun of me for who I am. So what's the point of trying to talk to her? And so then, I don't know, it's just really interesting. Like, as an introvert, I feel like so many times in conversations, we feel so much pressure to like make the other person feel better and like try and say the right thing and make them like us. But that backfires so much of the time because we're spending the whole conversation thinking about how the other person feels and how we're coming off and how we're acting, that we're actually not in the conversation at all. Like, we're not fully present, we're not in the conversation, and that actually makes it harder to connect with the person like in the end. So it's actually like backfiring and doing the opposite of what you want it to do. Like, in your head you're thinking, oh, if I spend all this energy like thinking of the perfect thing to say and how to connect with this person and make them like me and say the right thing, then like we'll get along and they'll want to be my friend. But you're spending all that energy and you're not actually connecting with them, and then you're not asking them about, you know, questions about themselves, engaging in the conversation, getting curious about them. And so what I've started doing over the past few months is like, when someone talks to me, I always have that immediate like tense up feeling. Like, I'm like, oh no, like here it goes. Like, I gotta think of what to say. Like, I gotta end this as quickly as possible and make it like the most painless it can be. And that is like a horrible feeling every time someone talks to me, to feel like that. So recently I've started like, as soon as I get that feeling, I like to breathe. Like, I breathe into my stomach. I like stick up my belly and I breathe. And I'm like, okay, this is not a time for me to like think about what to say. I just need to listen to them. And if nothing comes to my head and nothing comes out of my mouth after, nothing comes out of my mouth. Like, what's the worst thing that's gonna happen? Literally, what is the worst thing that's gonna happen if you don't have anything to say? And the thing is, there's always like something. Like, you know, even if you don't have like a response to what they say, you can go, or like make like a little sound. And like, the other thing is, sometimes you won't have a response to what they say, and you really have to honor like how you feel. And it like, so this is the other point. I'm getting off tangent, but I'm like really understanding what's happening right now. When you're in a conversation with someone, and if they say something you disagree with and you're constantly thinking of the right thing to say, then you're gonna come up with some type of like lie or response that isn't true to yourself to like make them like you and be agreeable in the situation. And then you're gonna end up surrounded by people who like aren't like aligned with you and who you don't relate to and understand, and like you're really betraying yourself. You're constantly betraying yourself by just like saying things to like fit in and make stuff feel better. And that doesn't feel good. That doesn't feel good for you. It's not aligned with you, and it doesn't create the life that you really want. So like, you really have to accept that in order to understand how to like converse with people naturally. Like, there's people who you aren't gonna like, there's people who aren't gonna like you, there's conversations that aren't gonna go well, there's things that aren't gonna work out, there's people who you're not gonna be friends with, and you just have to like accept that. Like, every conversation is not like you're not like on a stage trying to like win a competition or like come off the perfect way. Like, a conversation is a time for you to actually find out if you like this person and if you want them in your life, and it's a chance for them to find out if they like you and they want you in their life. And so like, you know, being fake and trying to like, I don't want to say it like that, but like, you know, trying to always say the right thing is kind of like backfiring, and it's not letting you connect with people who you really like align with, and it's not allowing people to understand who you really are. And so in that conversation, when someone comes up to you and you take that second to breathe into your stomach and really think, let me just listen to them. Let me hear what they're all about. Let me find out what they got to say. Let me see how I feel about it. That really allows you to decide if you like connect with this person, and like, if you are genuinely interested in them, something will come out of your mouth. You don't have to think about it. And like, if the wrong thing comes out of your mouth and like they don't like it and they ask you a question, you respond to the question. You know what I mean? And if you guys don't like each other at the end, like, what is the worst thing that could happen to that? There's people we don't like all the time. And like, that's totally fine. And people aren't like scary and mean. Like, people aren't super confrontational. So like, if you say the wrong thing, people aren't gonna like immediately be like on you, like, why did you say that? Like, what did you mean? And if they do, like, you have a chance to explain yourself and explain what you really meant. And there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with how you feel. So it's like, you can never really say the wrong thing. You can only say things that align with people and things that don't align with others. And so in the conversation, you take that deep breath, you listen to them, you hear what they have to say, and whatever naturally comes out of your mouth is meant to be. And it just takes so much pressure off you, and it takes away so much anxiety that a conversation actually feels fun. And I didn't believe it when people would tell me this. People were always telling me this because like I do talk to like close friends and people about like being introverted and how I'm insecure about it, and like I just feel like I'm weird and it's hard for me to connect with people. And they're always like, oh well, like in a conversation, like aren't you curious about the people you're talking to? Like don't you want to know about them? Don't you like think of questions? And I always felt like such a narcissist. Like this, I feel so like weird saying this. I don't want to like say this, but I genuinely felt like I was like, oh, like crap, am I a narcissist? Because every time I was in a conversation with someone, I was only thinking about how I was coming across and like what I was gonna say next. And like, I was like, oh my God, I'm so like conceited. All I do is think about myself. But truly, I was just so nervous that it was like hard for me to like connect with anyone, because the whole time I was just like, am I coming off right? Like, are they gonna like me? I don't think I'm a narcissist, but I was like really concerned with how I was coming off. And then I actually was like feeling bad about that, and I was like, oh wow, I really need to connect with people. But it takes a lot longer for you to actually learn the lesson on your own, as opposed to like people telling you what you need to do. And then like once I actually tried it in a conversation, I was like, okay, let me like take a deep breath and like think about like what they're saying, and like try to like not like try and respond, but like actually like listen to what they're saying. It's so funny when you actually listen to what people are saying, like a response just comes to your mouth. And like sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes the person you're talking to, you're like, oh, I really don't like you and I don't agree with anything you're saying, and then no response comes to your mouth. And that's totally fine too, because then you don't like end up just like making people who you don't like feel better, just like trying to talk to them, just like I did at work. And so yeah, I don't know, that's like my advice, like as an introvert. I'm like working really hard to accept myself as an introverted person, and just to be like, yeah, to be honest, I don't have that many things to say all the time. It's really hard because constantly like at work and in life and like everywhere you go, it's like a lot of people like, oh, you're so shy, or you're so quiet, like, oh, why do you never talk, or like this and that. And that can be really uncomfortable, and it actually makes me feel really bad a lot of the time. And that I haven't totally worked on yet, but I need to like think into that more. So it can make it really challenging to like consistently honor yourself and how you feel, and like not just like making up stuff to say, because it can be really uncomfortable when people like talk to you like that. But really like taking a moment when they talk to you like that and recognizing this isn't really about me. It's because they're uncomfortable that I don't have anything to say to like make them feel more comfortable. And so it's more of a reflection of how like they feel interacting with people than it is about like myself. Like there's nothing wrong with me about, for being quiet. And there's nothing wrong with other people for feeling uncomfortable with you being quiet, but like that's something for them to look into in themselves. And so really recognizing that it's more about them than you when they're commenting on like how you are, it can be really helpful, because then you can actually like sit down and like have some like acceptance and compassion for yourself. And I feel like that's the first step to like really getting comfortable in conversations with others as an introvert, is like accepting yourself as for who you are, having compassion for yourself, and being like, yeah, people have like treated me kind of crappy for being an introvert for a long time, so I feel really insecure talking to others. And then like genuinely trying to connect with them. And there are like really good, kind people like in this world. Like I do have some friends and people who I've connected with, and I'm like, I feel so lucky to like have found some really genuinely kind people who just like accept me for who I am. And that feels really good. There's not a lot of them. I mean, maybe there is. I haven't found a lot of them, but like I would rather be surrounded with like a small amount of people who are like genuinely kind to me, and like aren't like constantly thinking about, wishing I was different, or like how I'm, I don't know. People who are just genuinely kind, I guess. And so I'd rather be surrounded by very few of them than like a whole bunch of people who I've made feel better, but I just feel so empty in those conversations. Like, because when you build relationships with people, like it's supposed to fulfill both of you when you spend time together. But like if you're constantly spending time with people who are only connected with you because you like put this big huge effort every single time when you talk to them to like make them feel good, and like try and be this person that you're not, and like always trying to come up with something to say and be interesting, Like, that is so draining for you. And that's why, like, our social battery, I feel like, is so low sometimes, because we're spending so much energy trying to make other people feel good, and we're not really, like, feeling fulfilled or connected with those people. And so, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of all I have to say. I just kind of wanted to share, like, what came to be for me over the past few weeks thinking about myself as an introvert. It's hard, and it takes time, I guess, to accept yourself. I've been working on it for a while, and it's definitely better now than it was. And I'm hoping it will continue to get better. But I wanted to share a little bit of my experience, and I'm really curious if anyone has any other advice on accepting yourself as an introvert, or like tips that you have or ways that you find helpful to connect with others. So if you want to share, feel free to comment or message me. Yeah, anyways, that was all I had to share this week. I hope that you have a great week, and you can maybe take a moment this week to accept yourself in a conversation, take a deep breath and think, there's actually nothing wrong with me. Let me get curious about this person and see how it goes. Maybe you can just try it once and see what happens for you. Maybe you can leave me a comment about how it went. Yeah, so I hope you have a good week, and I will be back next week with another video. Okay, bye-bye.